Well, as we all hop on, please go ahead and mute yourselves when you get a chance. That'll help keep things on the right track here. So thank you all for joining us tonight. It's pretty momentous, and I'll explain why in a bit, but it was nice to see 84 plus people register. And this is really a talk about where we are, and we're going to be talking in very real black and white terms of the bottom line. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and give us an understanding of where we are and
Did you
where.
get the registration?
So if you have any questions as I'm rolling through this presentation, please don't hesitate to either put them in the chat, or you can wait until the end of it. I'm going to be leaving room for Q&A. So this is really all about a very, why this point in time in history of Florida and its and her environment, why it's so critical. What we do today and in the next couple of months will be will cause a pivot, hopefully cause a pivot to where we need to be. And if it sounds dire, it's because it is, and I'll explain why in very plain, simple, just the simple truth of the matter. I added this quote from a really well-respected and highly esteemed public interest environmental law attorney practitioner all his life. And he had recently, we were talking in a meeting, and that's just, that's what he said. I asked, can we quote you on that? Because it does help. He has had many cases and many clients who have been nonprofit environmental advocates and organizations who have been fighting a very, very long decades on especially clean water issues. And I know that he shares in the belief and understanding that the Florida legal system is not where it needs to be. And it's a losing fight these days. So it's really now or never. Seriously, it is. And I'll explain why it's the only way. Let's start with. When you look at how and why environmental protections even exist, usually, and you should be able to count on, the political machine of things, the statutes and regulations, good leaders, serving in the public trust for our benefit as the public, right? So within that box, you have the ability to educate everyone and make sure everyone understands by way of advocacy or otherwise how important it is. So the question at the end of these, little measures is it working? Apparently not. Okay. Also, we have the ability to lobby our politicians, urge them, please do this, please do not do that. Let's protest and rally about it and sign a petition to make sure our voice is heard across the state, what we believe is, bad and what we believe is good. The bottom line there is, hasn't really been effective in the big picture of things. So that is also there, but it's not working. Voting, again, it could be a powerful tool, and it should be a powerful tool, but for various reasons, for many reasons I can go into if you want, but the bottom line is clean water is not a sexy issue for politics, okay? It's necessary. Everyone who knows just enough about it agrees that clean water is an important issue, but it doesn't rank high on the, the headline news, clickbaitable issues of concern that usually drive politics and elections. So unfortunately, right? I mean, if it was ideal, people, the electorate would vote on science, they would vote on the, issues that affect their survival and the ability to thrive. They, things like that. But voting for the purpose of clean water protection is not working so far. So we look to the legal framework of things. And again, like I just mentioned, the legal framework is not conducive to wins for the environment, wins for clean water. And that is the sad truth of it. There are other citizen, the causes of action. We have the ability to do things, but that ability is limited, and the standards are very deferential to what agency folks think or interpret or define. What is the definition of public interest? What is the definition of harm? Those types of things can get a little screwy when you follow through in the big picture of things. So right now, we can honestly say that our current legal framework is not super awesome. So how do you change that legal framework? You can either wait for the legislators to do that, which is probably not going to happen, right? I mean, we see the trend, and not just trend, but proof of the legislature not working in the public interest with regard to clean water as a systemic issue. Will they placate? Yes. Will they throw money at big money sometimes at projects of restoration and things like that? Yes, but they are likely not going to stop the source of pollution. And that is a very general statement for a lot of different types of issues going along around the state. But right now, the fact that the legal framework could and should be changed, it's not going to happen through the legislature in any foreseeable sense. So how do we do it? We do it ourselves. And the way we do that ourselves is a citizens initiative. So why now? Because the citizens initiative issue is up in the legislative session, this session, by way of a few bad bills going through committee now. And if any of them make it, it spells bad news for the Floridian electorate. Okay, they're going to have, in various degrees, in different ways, less power to get their citizens initiative, their will, the public will, into the Florida Constitution in order to fix things. And of course, this will affect the our initiative. And depending on the bill that you're talking about, it may or may not touch our campaign as it is right now. In one of them, I think I read, it may have been 1414, but signatures gathered after the date of effectiveness for that bill will have to follow the procedures and the standards of the bill. So who knows what's going to happen? Let's just say these are bad bills, and they earmark the trend and the intent of the legislature to further degrade our power as Florida citizens. Why else is it now or never? There's stuff going on at the federal level that doesn't spell wonderful news for Florida's waters. And of course, you always have the trustworthy Florida dynamics in politics on these issues. And at the bottom line, the polluters are growing in power. They continue to gain more power in politics, in the law, in regulations, in policy making, and continue to degrade our power to resist them. This is an important slide. Okay, I hope everyone takes it on board that this is why everyone in Florida, whether you're here because you care about the lives, the wildlife, the good of Florida's water quality and way of life, or if you're just self-interested in your own pocketbook and your own property and the ability to enjoy it, that's fine too. Everyone, across the spectrum of interest, we have all a shared value and need to keep the water clean in Florida. Bottom line, right? So the big picture is, if you were a polluter, what would you do in the sense of wanting to not only maintain and grow your power and profit, but to reduce the ability of citizens to do anything about it? So, I mean, we touched on this already. They get into politics, they control it by way of money. Election outcomes, what laws and regulations say. So further degradation of protections, degradation of home rule authority, as you all can see, every session there's some new preemption of the the ability of local government to control their own pollution, or anything along those lines. And then of course they want to degrade citizen power to resist, and that spans from not just water, but sprawl, the whole 9 yards. That they want to do what they want to do if it means more money, and I'm sorry to say it that way, but that is the God honest truth. What else can they do? They can affect the actual mechanisms of governance. They can ensure folks friendly to their interests are in power, or in boards or decision boards, advisory boards, commissions, councils, whatever you want to call it. They have their people in there, and that those people make the decisions that are favorable with results, with favorable results to them. And similarly, and I hesitated to put this on the list here, but we do have indicators that this last point is true. In the environmental organization aspect, there are ways that polluters are doing their best to chill or distract the folks in, especially the larger organizations, from effectively advocating, from focusing on their own mission. Sometimes, things get in the way and the mission becomes convoluted, and they're not able to do what they really should be doing. So the bottom line there is, it's within the polluter's interests for organizations to not be effective in their mission statement. So how do we combat this craziness that, if you were a polluting interest, this is what you do, and the fact that we see it in Florida a lot, right? So what do? Well, we can fix the system. We can the big system, campaign finance reform, integrity of information, rules of ethics, but that's all good governance and anti-corruption, which is ideal, and it would affect other issues as well. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. So what can we do to protect ourselves now? And especially regarding an issue that affects everybody in their lives, livelihoods, way of life, whatever you want to call it, but clean water is a basic issue for all Floridians. So what do we do now? For one thing, you really want to you really want to protect your citizens' power of initiative. And again, this affects every other issue out there that might not be on the priority list for the Florida legislature. Okay. So how do you solve that? Well, do your best to stop these bad bills. Okay. That is ideal. There should be, and hopefully there is a statewide movement against what these bills represent. But just kind of keep in mind that every single Floridian can go outside and scream, but it can or cannot make a difference. We have seen there are plenty of examples of making a difference, right? Sometimes a bill does pass through the legislature and the governor vetoes it. So there's always, little benchmark of opportunities to do this. You also have litigation that, this is tantamount to unconstitutionally depriving you of your right to citizens initiative. There are ways about it. So that's one thing you do need to protect, and it does relate to our initiative as well. But should that not happen, should it go through, should it be signed into law and therefore in the courts presumed constitutional, then you switch back to where we are today. We also have the ability to protect against eliminating hope and the power to defend ourselves against an actual issue. Permitted harm, government permitted harm. Okay, I'll just pause there for effect. It's the government that is permitting this harm to Floridians and all the life that's depending on them. So what do we do to prevent that? You qualify this on the ballot. Why is that the only thing you have to do? Because it's a ready-made package. It is exhaustively researched and developed and designed to achieve the scope and purpose of what's necessary in Florida for systemic change. And it's available now. Every anecdote that we hear back from volunteers who go out and collect signatures in person, they have all said, no one hesitates to sign the petition. Okay, it really is a matter of a person with a clipboard and a blank petition, presenting that with a pen to another person in Florida. Okay, it is that simple, and yet we need that people power to make it happen. That's the truth of that. Why else? It is going to be, it's going to pass with flying colors over the 60% whatever requirement to pass a law or amend the Constitution in Florida. Florida has a very long and established history of being pro-environment. And this, among other environmental issues, is incredibly popular across the divide. Okay, so we're not worried that it may or may not pass in the 2026 election. What the only thing we're trying to do that we worry about is whether or not it qualifies for the ballot. Okay, this is an achievable win for everyone, especially everyone who works for this. And because it is something that we all share, we all have in common, it's our common ground with our fellow Floridian. So it is absolutely something not only that we should be doing, but we can be doing. All right, so why haven't we already succeeded? That's the important question, because that is an issue that underlies this current moment. Is human nature, right? The fact that what we need are active supporting organizations, the big and well organized kind, and we need donors. From the average Floridian's perspective, it's not on their priority list, right? So from their perspective, all they want or need is something to be very, very convenient and put in front of them to say, here, sign here, and let be done with it. So the idea is to ensure that the average voter gets that chance, either by way of email or in-person interaction with a volunteer. Otherwise, it's not going to be done on a scalable measure. And of course, there's a lot going on these days. I'm not sure if you all realize that, but there's a lot that is afoot that probably, again, gains more attention and priority than a clean water issue in Florida. Okay, so that's, again, the bottom line of the reality of things. And of course, even the folks and organizations that do care and do understand about clean water and the systemic dysfunction, a lot of them are about they've ceded their understanding to a pay-to-play maxim as the only indicator for possible success. Again, a harsh reality that we learned pretty long ago, actually, but it is something that we've been trying to work on and fix and or meet the expectations by continuing to try to, we're fundraising. It's just difficult. All right, so everyone agrees with and supports the right to clean water, but it's a matter of people saying, well, we'll wait until you have money and then we'll jump on board. So if everyone does that, we're sitting still in the water. There's no wind in our sails. Okay, and it's very unhelpful. Very unhelpful. And so that's where we've been for quite some time. We're waiting for some wind. we're asking for someone, we're going everywhere we can to persuade folks, please, this is an important issue, etc. So what we're doing is taking all this backroom strategic work and pushing it into the grassroots network so you can help with those types of conversations. All right. You're the one who will be owning the results of this effort, success or fail. So you should know that your work on to these ends, these strategic ends, will help us succeed. Us meaning all of us, not the initiative or anything else. So this is where we are right now. So as far as a plan of action goes, it really depends on the support we can bring to the table, the wind that comes in, and what we can do. So the first plan 1, is that would be great if someone could cough up $10 million, or 2 people can cough up $5 million, you know what I'm saying? But we need to be able to show that we have the ability to do a paid petitioning effort. And again, we have had in the past strategic plans based on the power of grassroots. But when you consider how grassroots works, when there is a different issue, or if your issue is not at the top of the general consensus or the collective consciousness of the moment of the day, then you're going to be, again, sitting still in the water. So we need to push out. We need to realize that everyone who is able to help fundraise should help fundraise. If you are available to meet every other Wednesday at 12 p.m., for instance, you're welcome to join us. It's really a very small team right now, just because it is, it's something we haven't pushed out yet. We've pushed among our own. We've asked our ambassadors, please help. We've asked our connectors with supporting orgs and everyone within house, within our own infrastructure. We've said we need some help in fundraising. We have the lists. We have a wonderful person, Kathleen McElroy, who is a duty expert and is willing to share not only her time, but expertise and insight and how to say things, what to do, how to do them for the most effective results. Okay. So she is there at the ready and able to train up anyone who has an inkling of interest. And it's so important. So if you're not able to join us at that particular time on a Wednesday, then let us know if you're still interested, and we'll try to work something out. Okay. It'll continue to develop as we go forward, but I just wanted to point out, plan 1 is the money shows up and we're able to confidently qualify for the ballot, and honestly take a nap and relax, maybe even have a party. But I'm not sure if you're a volunteer, especially of those of you who've been with us for years, I can probably speak on your behalf in saying we need a freaking, break. It is something that would be wonderful. So please do your best, do your darndest to reach out into the possibilities of who has money that can help us now. Okay, plan 1. Plan 2, although we still need money, who can help us get those petitions signed now? Who? Question mark. A lot of the organizations throughout Florida have the ability to do this, whether it's just by email, whether it's by in-person meetings, whether it's by hosting events, or supporting events. You don't even have to host. You can say, we will show up and ensure everyone we can at that large event, community event, gets a petition put in front of him or her on a clipboard. That's the type of level of support that we would need and want from organizations that have the ability to do that. All right. Now, there are different again, another spectrum of possibility. There's a menu of options what organizations can do or should do. So we have that the ideal, help us collect signatures. All right, that is the ideal. The second please or ask is that they help communicate with their members and followers to not just sign their petition, but help support the cause as soon as possible. So more or less relay what we're talking about today to your followers. That is a huge and important step of what organizations can do. So if and wherever you, either as an organization representative or someone who's a member of an organization, if you are interested in continuing this, I'm going to talk about it a little bit more in a bit, but we meet regionally. Every region of Florida meets every week to talk about not just outreach to certain organizations, but making sure that they have a clear and achievable on-ramp to things that they can do to directly help the cause. Plan 3 is somewhere in between. So we get just enough just enough dollars and just enough organizations to make it happen. Again, that's going to be some major coordination and math, but that's plan 3, and very likely we'll probably land somewhere in that framework. But I'll just say plan 1. If we go with plan 3, plan 1 is going to have a very substantial chunk of accomplishment there. Okay. So that's the way forward. What's the next couple of months look like? So we're going to talk about events and what you can do to help support that. But in April, there's going to be a connection series of connecting the right to clean water with issues of climate, the economy, matters of faith, Republican interests, Democratic interests, average Floridian interests, bills and taxes and things like that. And then issues, for instance, if, we're going to have a connection event about the Oklawaha River, the Lake O, you just name the water body, we're going to have a sit-down event, not a sit-down, but an in-person, sorry, a virtual event to talk through how the right to clean water would directly support that mission. And if an organization is interested in this, and you're interested on the legal technical side, bring your lawyer. Let's talk about the legal technical stuff and talk about how on day 1 you're able to effectively advocate for your cause with this in the Florida Constitution. Other issues, farming, real estate, environmental justice, I mean, you name it, it has some bearing. Okay. We're also going to be launching our mass email campaigns through our email system, but also through the community of organizations of issue outreach communities and things like that. And in May, we're hoping that all of that work will manifest into in-person type of issues. Like we're hoping to get leaders and speakers to conduct a tour around the state with in-person events, the coordinated mass communication from all supporting organizations. In the military, we called it the firing for effect. We're trying to coordinate a mass communication effort in early May to achieve that effect that will hopefully get the attention of all Floridians long enough for them, at least the ones that have as a printer in their house and an envelope and a stamp, to get it done. And if they don't, then we can talk further about what else they can do to get that to sign their petition. But we're coordinating something for early May. More to come later. And of course, whatever wind shows up, we're going to be talking to big donors and these larger organizations who are able to not just have massive effects, but the funding side of things. Those are important, critical, strategic conversations that have to happen. So if you have any speakers in mind or experts for any of these or additional connection possibilities for the events, then please let us know. And when you see them pop up in the announcements, either when you receive our newsletter or emails, or you see it on social media, hopefully you're following, then please share that and get the word out for those connection events to be as effective as we can make them. All right, so very, very simply, another way of saying it, the idea, so on top of everything else we're doing already, which is, the continuing actions of collecting signatures, of raising funds, of reaching out to these communities and messaging all the above, we are going to focus on creating the buzz, creating confidence in not just the cause, but the way we're doing it. And our target audience is going to be the big donors and the big organizations. So that is key. So no matter what we're doing up here, this is what we have to do to succeed. And I just wanted to ensure that that message is imparted today in this meeting. And then secondly, we're going to make connecting the dots and making things happen to form a plan, and then we're launching it until we're done. Okay, that's the simplest way, the very simple way of describing what's next. So April, May, that's what we're focused on, and then the rest of the time until we're out of time at the end of December, that is our focus of effort. So I'm just pausing to make sure everyone can read what they want to read from this. Okay, so what can you do to help? Quite a bit. It depends on what you want. First, please, for those of you who already know what organizations, especially in your neck of the woods, are actively supporting, please take a moment to thank them publicly, promote them publicly, and not just nonprofits, but business organizations who are serving as petition locations. Get to know the people in your neighborhood and learn what they're doing and how they're doing it, and make sure that they receive the credit and gratitude they're deserving. And that is only something that local folks are able to do. Okay, so please take on board that primary task. All right, so what you can do after that depends on if you would like to help raise $10 million, which we do need to do, or you want to do the plan 2 with the activating organization. So if you want to help raise 10 million, if you already have someone in mind, someone you know, whether it's an acquaintance or a best friend or a distant relative, if you're connected, you are welcome to make the pitch yourself, because you probably have much more credibility in their eyes than we do, right? So explain to them why this is so important, why it's the only way and now or never, right? Include the issues that they're interested in, and if they have any questions that you can't answer, please direct them to us. Awesome, no problem. Or if you can't make or don't want to make the pitch yourself, please ask for a meeting. Do you mind meeting with the folks at Right to Clean Water? They really have an important opportunity that I think that you would want to consider. Okay, as simple as that. And then just introduce us on email. And everyone should have our email address. If not, it's on our website, but it's admin at FloridaRightToCleanWater.org. All right, so if you don't know them personally, but you know of them, and this could be some business in town, or a large real estate association, or something along those lines, you're like, you know what, this organization should probably want to consider supporting the Right to Clean Water for obvious reasons, but for reasons that you can come up with as well. Please help us connect the dots. If you can, do a little research and let us know what a good contact information might be. And also any insight, especially from locals, any insight that you can share that might help us tailor our pitch, our message, our priority reasons to resonate with them the best. Okay, that will very much help. And if there's someone that you can tag, someone meaning an organization or business or whatever, if they're on social media and you think that they would be a great fit for a being supportive of this cause, then tag them or go on their page and let them know. I think you really should look into the right to clean water, or post something on your own page or in a group and tag. But be, of course, courteous and all the above, and let them know, hey, this is an important, critical, timely, urgent opportunity needing your help. And say whatever you want to say. And if you need assistance at all with coming up with blurbs, let us know. I mean, there's a lot of material across the spectrum in our social media posts and in our website. But if you just really want to direct ask, we're happy to help. Okay. Otherwise, do your best to share the donation link with your own network, either on, well, no, not either, but both on email and on any social media network you're on. And these donors can be individual donors, philanthropists, those just that should be able to support meaningfully, where they can be businesses and nonprofits, especially the businesses that would do well with a constitutional requirement for clean water. Think of the innovative green technologies and things like that would come to bear. And also, if you're familiar with clean water events or fishing tournaments or anything that has to do with the water or environment, there are usually corporate sponsors connected to those events. So help us research and find. And again, going back to what really helps is helping us find the contact information and any insights that you think might be helpful. All right. So there's a lot you can do, and this shouldn't take too much of your time. You can do it on a weekly basis, or you can do it one time, as much as you can do. But it's up to you. But this is exactly what needs to happen at a very, at a substantial scale from everyone that can and can do something with what they have. This is an easy, relatively easy ask. Okay, so if you're more interested in Plan 2, and again, it's not an or, it's an and, but help us activate the larger organizations, especially larger environmental organizations. So if you're a member of one of these organizations who might not be on the front line, then do what you can as a member, or if you're a donor to that organization, help persuade the board to do something, okay? And if you're on the board, help help persuade the board to do something. And what that something is usually starting with, let's put it on the next agenda. Let's ensure that our board gets a good understanding of what this is. And you're absolutely welcome to coordinate a speaker, a presentation, or information, to inform your board members for an important discussion, and discuss the type and level of support that organization might be able to do. Now, there's a lot of information out there that, for instance, the 501c3s, sometimes they feel we're a charity nonprofit, we can't get involved. Actually, you can, and there's a lot of ways you can get involved. So don't let that be a doorstop to what needs to happen. There's a lot of things that need to be discussed. So if and when you find an obstacle, let us know, because we can help you with that obstacle more often than not. And the only reason I can't come up with a reason why organizations wouldn't want to help. But it kind of goes back to that whole, we're waiting for everyone else to put money in, so we're just hanging out here doing nothing. All right, so the other thing is if you're not in an organization but you would expect them to be a leader in this effort, or at least a supporter, let them know what your thoughts are. Tag them on social media. Again, courteously. Don't don't be calling people out. Don't denigrate them for conducting their own, interests and priorities. That's within expectations. Okay, that's completely fine. However, this is a very, again, impart the importance and urgency of this moment and of this opportunity with them. When you email them, call them, tag them on social media. That's the message we want to get across. Um, so we want them to organize or directly support local efforts, and so in a leadership capacity or a support capacity, and also routinely communicate with their members and followers. Um, we are, the next step is to push out those that boilerplate language, if the organization would like it, with uniform talking points, with graphics they might want to use and things like that. So that is part of this plan too, is getting them on board. So please let us know if you're interested in doing something like that. You just have to sign up. Let us know. All right, so this is my last slide, but I want to hand it over to a young volunteer and leader in his community. But before I do, this is the takeaway. It's the only way, it's now or never, and everyone needs to do whatever they can to support it. So, Bryce, please come to the foreground and let us know what your thoughts are from your perspective.
All right. Thank you so much. That was a awesome presentation, and it's really cool to see the movement sort of revamping and all the energy. So, hello everybody. My name is Bryce Claypool. I'm a 17-year-old environmental activist from Sarasota, and today I want to share with you my perspective on the challenges that Florida is facing. My journey began when our family moved here in 2018. I've always loved nature, and I remember thinking, we've moved to paradise. I fell in love with our water and our lands. Sarasota Bay has been the backdrop for my life since then. I, joined, I joined a sailing team, participated in trash cleanups and citizen science projects, took up wildlife photography, and I've just spent every minute that I could in nature. I love to snorkel and dip net in seagrass beds. I love to hang out with my friends on the beach and explore the bay in a sailboat on windy days. Um, Through all these activities, though, I've seen firsthand the dangers that our waters are facing. There are seagrass beds that I used to find seahorses and pufferfish and all sorts of animals in, and now they're just desolate beds of algae. I've witnessed blue-green algae choke waterways, and red tides kill thousands of animals. I actually started a project on the platform iNaturalist to catalog the species killed by red tide. I'm up to 160 species. That includes fishes, sharks, crabs, and so many other animals. Giant tarpon, young sea turtles, tiny majestic seahorses. It's honestly, the red tide is so heartbreaking. So, as I watch these terrible events and changes, I've been wondering what can be done. Um, the answer came really one day when I was 12. My mom came home one afternoon and she showed me a newspaper article. It was about the race to save Orange Hammock, a tract of wilderness near the city of Northport. A local nonprofit was trying to raise the money to purchase it for conservation, but it wasn't clear that they'd make the deadline. For days, the idea that this beautiful swath of land could be paved over nagged at me. I knew that it was an essential wildlife habitat and filter for our drinking water. Eventually, I resolved to do the one thing that I could think of. I wrote an article asking people to donate to the cause. I was amazed by the outpouring of support that I received. So many people said that they donated because of my article, and now that land is preserved. Um, This was a turning point for me, and that it taught me that I can use my voice to make an impact. Later that year, I helped found the youth advocacy group Kids for Clean Water. Our mission was to preserve natural resources for future generations. We spent the fall of 2020 on our first campaign, spreading the word about the Manatee County land referendum, a bond referendum that would fund acquisition of environmentally sensitive lands. We made videos and wrote letters trying to reach Manatee County voters. In the end, the measure passed with more than 70% support. As I've continued with environmental advocacy, this is something that I've seen time and time again. Everyone wants to protect our waters. We all want to protect our waters. Everyone loves them and understands their importance to our economy, our infrastructure, our quality of life. Yet, time and time again, issues go in favor of special interests and allow pollution in the face of public opposition. Why is this? It's because special interests are able to pour unlimited money into political campaigns and have gained a stranglehold on Florida's government. This doesn't mean that we can't fight. I've fought, and at times I've won. But overall, I've seen that advocates and communities just can't keep up with this onslaught. What we're doing isn't sustainable. If we keep losing so many battles, by the time that I have my own kids, they won't get to experience the natural world that I love. And that breaks my heart. It's why we need a revolution, something that gives Florida's government no choice but to protect our waters. Right to clean water is this revolution. By granting Floridians a fundamental right to clean waters, this amendment changes the policy landscape to favor people over special interests. It's simple, really. The challenge is getting it done. And I'm challenging all of you to do that. But before I conclude, let me tell you a story of a revolution in my own community. For years, my county commission was beholden to special interests, mostly land developers who have ravaged our area with reckless growth and poured millions into politicians' campaign coffers. In 2023, they voted to remove our county's wetland protections in the face of massive public opposition. Kids for Clean Water had encouraged them to keep their protections in place, but they attacked us, labeling us as pawns and suggesting that we should stay out of the conversation. It was really shocking, and the outcome of the vote was tragic. But we didn't give up, and neither did the community. In 2024, in the election, we rallied behind grassroots challengers who promised to focus on accountability, community, and environmental protection. Developers put hundreds of thousands of dollars into the campaigns of their preferred commissioners, but they couldn't overcome the groundswell of people volunteering for campaigns, writing letters to the papers, and talking with friends about the best candidates. Against all odds, the challengers all won. They all won in landslides. Our county commission is no longer controlled by special interests, and this year they've aggressively expanded public input in policy decisions, increased transparency and oversight, and restored our essential wetland protections. I tell you this because this is the sort of movement that we need at a state level. We need to be energized. We need people who care, people like you, to be out there collecting petitions, fundraising, or spreading the word. I've seen firsthand that this works. That when people truly care and dedicate themselves to an effort, they can make a difference. And that's why I'm asking you to do. This is our chance to stand up to powerful interests, to hold our government accountable, and to build the future that we, the people, want. The stakes are high and the consequences of inaction are dire, but the opportunity is great. I'm asking you to support this effort for my generation, for your kids and grandkids, to have a sustainable future. I ask that if you care about our future and our environment, which I know that you all do, that you dedicate time to this effort because this is our shot at a better world. So, what will you do? Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Bryce. That was beautiful. Yes, thank you. And we were very honored for your presence and words today, especially during such a critical, pivotal point in our timeline. So I'm not going to belabor. I'm just going to hopefully let his words sink in, and let you know that the slides and this recording link to this presentation will be provided to everyone who registered. And we're always here to answer questions and give ideas. But I guess the last point is I hope everyone feels a new and large sense of ownership. As stakeholders, you are the owners of the results of our combined efforts. And I know that as Bryce just said, it is possible to move mountains. Okay, it is possible. And we can do this. So we have a very clear plan with 3 options, 2 really, if you think about it, 2 particular endeavors, and in both senses, we can make it happen. So with the next 8 minutes remaining, I would love to open this up for questions or even an inspirational story, honestly. Go ahead, Tom.
Bryce, thank you so much. Would it be okay if I used your words at a meeting that's coming up? I think it would be a real good driver. I think you, from the heart, said things that need to be said from your generation.
Absolutely, I'd be honored.
Thank you.
Has there been any questions in the chat that have yet to be answered?
Hi, Deb Pierce here. Bryce, would you please repeat your statistics regarding species affected by the algae?
This number of species affected by the algae that I have recorded is 161. And I can put a link in the chat to where I've collected that data if you're interested.
Oh, yes, it'd be great to have, documentation.
Yeah.
Some proof to show people how important this is.
Yeah, I will put that in the chat.
You keep on keeping on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sierra?
My question is actually for Bryce. The application that you created for iNaturalist, can that be applied for coral bleaching and other variations of death and degradation for other bodies of water?
Yeah, so what I did was I created a field on iNaturalist that can be added to different observations to collect that data. And I believe there's lots of fields. I believe there's different ones for coral bleaching for all sorts of things. So that might already exist. And if it doesn't, you can look that up on how to create it and make one.
Thank you. And also just love your energy, love the synergy. Let's keep going and keep that ripple going on into waves. Love you, Bryce. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Going once? Going twice? You know where to find us if you do have any follow-up information, ideas, or questions. Okay, Bonnie, go ahead. And good to see you.
Okay. I'm wondering if the legislation that's out there, do we think that's going to inhibit petitions? Is that likely to pass? And if it does, are we allowed to have paid collectors? I mean, do we have what is it, $1 million to put down as a deposit in order to even start an initiative? How would we deal with that legislation? Because I mean, pretty hopeless with this legislature.
Right. I don't know is the final answer, but it really depends on what bills make it through, or if they're going to be amended to take from here or take away from that to, to pass the governor's office, and things are still in flux right now. So what ultimately happens is TBD. The $1 million bond, practically, of propping it up before you start a campaign is kind of we should be grandfathered under. That doesn't apply to us. However, if we weren't to make it and it becomes law, it is highly likely that unless someone else gets that, $1 million for us, we're not going to be able to start again. And for many other reasons, many crazy changes in these bills, it's just not going to be a feasible option anymore to do things by citizens initiative. And that's huge. And I hope the law firms that are pushing against it are successful. We will see. So do what you can with what you have, right?
Okay,
Yeah, and then we push forward. Thank you, Bonnie.
thank you.
Go ahead, Katie. Oh, I'm sorry, you're on mute.
I thought the meeting was happening an hour later, so excuse my hair not being brushed. But I just want to thank you so much for the work you all are doing. I recently found out that my nephew, who was born with extra chromosomes, that him and his mother both had high levels of forever chemicals. And so we are a fishing family. I was feeding her fish while she was eating. So this is a subject that's really near and dear to my heart. I'm very thankful that I was invited to this. And I am from Move to Amend, and I would love to work with you guys and help raise it up however we can. I'll do a search through our database to see what Florida residents I can reach out to. So thank you. And please go to Move to Amend because we need your support too. It's all about working together. All these things connect. And it's nice to see young people in the room. And we have a lot of older supporters. So it's nice to see you there, Bryce. Thank you so much.
And thank you all. And yes, there's definitely lots of things going on behind the scenes, but we're hoping to share that with you as we go forward. So the most important thing is to ensure that you're receiving our emails, our announcements and updates and newsletters and things like that. If you haven't already, go to FloridaRightsToCleanWater.org, and on the bottom of each page has a subscribe, field that you can put your email in. We're not asking for anything else but your email, and and you'll receive these as they come out. Another way of ensuring that you're connected is to sign up as a volunteer, and you'll receive updates to ambassadors and things like that. Or just let us know. Just go to the contact form and say, hey, I want to do something, and then we will talk a little bit, go back and forth, and then connect the dots that way. So whatever is most convenient for you. Okay, Kathy.
I'd like to know if you could make your slides available to us in a single link.
Absolutely. Every email that had registered for this event will be receiving that, a link to the video recording and the slides.
My address for the Zoom is different than my captain's address. Can you make sure you get it to my captain's address?
I didn't hear you. I'm so sorry.
I use a different address for Zoom than my captain's address.
Let me know which email address you would like me to push to. If you can just send me an email to remind me, and I'll be sure and push it over to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I do want to make a comment.
ahead.
We have had some issues very recently with our email account. It cannot hurt for you to go onto our website and re-register with us. If it's already in there, Wix will see the duplication. If somehow your email address was eliminated, you can put it back on.
All right, you guys ready to go out and change the world?
Katie still has her hand up. I don't know if she has another something to say.
Katie or Kathy? Your
Oh
hand?
no, it just hadn't come out down yet. I thought it came down automatically. I'll
No,
lower my hand now.
No sweat.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you all for your time tonight, and stay tuned for next steps. It's going to be exciting. It's a beautiful point in our future history. You know what I'm saying? This is critical stuff.
This
So
is it.
it is Tom.
This is
Okay.
it. This is it. You're all a part of it.
Yep. I'm looking forward to it. Okay. All right. Let us know if you have anything, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay. Bye-bye.
Let's do it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.